Hello, welcome everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to every one of you who have dialed in from all across the globe. Welcome to the Innovation for Electrification webinar on the topic of digitalization and optimization. My name is Deepak Mahapatra, and I'm the Senior Officer, Business and Market Development at the Alliance for Rural Electrification. When we go to the next slide, we are going to see myself, I have already introduced myself, but the agenda, of course. So the opening remarks is being said by myself, and followed by that, I will hand over the floor to my colleague, Mr. Carlos Ferrer, Business Development Assistant at the ARE, to facilitate the whole webinar. Followed by that, we will enter into the interventions, where we will start with EnAccess, thereafter Any.io, then NetComm, then Qotto, thereafter Upya Technologies, followed by Victron. Thereafter, we will enter the audience Q&A, whereby we invite all the audience to please make use of the question answer function in order to ask your questions, which we will consolidate and then redirect to the speakers during the question answer round. Please do ensure to name the speaker that you're asking your question to so that we can redirect it to the right speaker who you have asked the question to. The webinar is being recorded. It will be shared on our website, as well as the PowerPoint presentation, which is currently being broadcasted at the moment. And yeah, thereafter we will do the closing remarks. So these are some of the let's say, nitty-gritties and the details of the webinar. And on that note, I would wish you all a nice and successful and insightful webinar. Thank you, and over to you, Carlos.
Thank you very much, Deepak, for your kind introduction. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone dialing in from all over the world. And welcome to this new edition of the Innovation for Electrification webinar, this time on the topic Digitalization and Optimization, where the ARE members will showcase their solutions in this topic. Before that, for introducing a little bit more about the Alliance for Electrification, we are ARE. We are a global business association that represents 200 members along the distributed renewable energy value chain, working in mainly 3 continents, which are Africa, Asia Pacific, and Latin America, and working in more than 55 countries. Next slide, please. Here you can see where are the ARE member based and which are their regional focus and expertise. And we are technology agnostic association that works in every single kind of renewable energies. And here you can see the 4 pillars of work of ARE, which are our 4 membership services. We're working in these 4 lines, which are business and market development, capacity building, coalition advocacy, and communications and marketing. So these are the 4 ways in which we work to enhance the work of our members. So thank you very much. I will be facilitating this webinar from this point. And before we start with the first speaker, I would like to point out the fact that all the speakers will be having 8 minutes for their presentation. So please, dear speakers, try to comply with this 8 minutes timing so we can have more time during the Q&A session. And also, dear audience, please make use of the question answer function of GoToWebinar. Please ask all your questions. We are encouraging you to do it, and all of them will be addressed at the end of the webinar during the Q&A. So thank you very much for your attention. And now we'll move to the first speaker, which is Vivien Barnier, the CEO of EnAccess. Hi, Vivien, thank you very much, and the floor is all yours. Sorry, Vivien, I cannot hear you. I don't know if it's just me.
No.
Now we can hear you, Vivien.
You can hear me?
Yes, now it's good.
Yes,
Please
yes,
continue.
yeah. Okay, perfect, thank you.
Yes, please go ahead.
So digitalization, you see, even like voice transmission is not necessarily working that easily. Thanks, Carlos, for inviting me, and thanks, I4E, for inviting me to this opportunity. And hello and welcome to everybody. I'm honored and glad to open this webinar session with the 6 interesting webinars. And I think it's good that we start to set the stage. I'm Vivien Barnier, said, the CEO of the EnAccess Foundation, and we'll talk today about digitalization, the challenges, impact for small and medium-sized enterprises in the energy access space. So as said, I think it's setting a good ground for the overall day. And yeah, thanks. A short intro to everybody what EnAccess does. For those that don't know, EnAccess is focusing on open source in energy access, which is obviously closely related to digitalization. And we do that through 3 activities. We support, that means we identify tools and approaches and technology that is missing in the sector and help and support the development and the adoption of these tools within the sector as open source tools that can be commonly used and commonly maintained and shared, and people and companies can build their business models on top of them, tweak them, refine them, and integrate them in their businesses. And secondly, we curate a repository of high quality open source tools that can be useful for companies. So once developed, we make sure they are maintained and further developed and adapted to the evolving needs of the sector. And lastly, we promote the open source idea as such within the sector to drive more collaboration and more knowledge sharing where it makes sense for everybody, and also the particular tools that we have developed or co-developed and that we know of that are relevant for companies in the sector. And we do all this because we strongly believe there are too much duplicated efforts in the sector. So companies have scarce funds and still spend their time in doing duplicated R&D efforts instead of being able to only focus on the developments which are really core to their business idea and business model and make their unique selling point, while all the underlying infrastructure we believe should be much more commonly shared and maintained. Now, let me come to talk about digitalization. I said, and you can see that on the next slide, that we will talk about challenges, and the challenges that companies, or particularly small, and we are talking about domestic companies mainly, small and medium-sized companies have, I mean, all companies have those, but we are focusing on the small ones because they're the challenges are harder to overcome. They have to, is it solar home system, mini grids, clean cooking, swarm grids, all of these have to handle a vast variety of complex range of data and financial data points. And for different, I mean, they look different depending on the business models, but they are there in any case. And to do these operations, particularly the smaller companies today often rely on manually or mostly manual operation of these data sets, which in the end locks them away from operational efficiency and scalability, and hence access to finance. That's also the reasons which you can see on the next slide why we believe digitalization in the energy access space is required. Next slide. Yeah, why is also basically answering the challenges, because it's a prerequisite to have at least a basic level of digitalization to be able to manage and handle this large amount of financial and technical data that these companies have, and they go growing exponentially with the number of clients, and to actually be able to operate efficiently and reach scale. And that's where the point is, we always think if it's a small company, you might be able to operate it even on paper, but in the moment you want to scale, you need to digitalize parts of your operations and your data management. And that's where we see, and providing an entry point to digitalization to really early stage companies with low barriers is a point to really enable domestic and local innovations and entrepreneurs to access the capital, the international capital market, but particularly to scale within the energy access sector. And that's where we have actually tried to understand that a bit better, which you can see on the next slide, because all which I said is more common knowledge. I think most would sign off on that, but we said like, okay, we are already talking about these small companies that need to digitize, but do they really need to, and do they really want to? So we did a bit of research, and in a survey with a good number, I think more than 35 companies across the continent, not across the world. Most were on the African continents, but we had a few from Cambodia and from India. And it was a digital survey plus a couple of follow-up interviews, and we came to the conclusion that 60% are either extremely or at least extremely dissatisfied with their degree of digitalization. Of the 40 companies that didn't answer that, they were like, we are mostly satisfied, but no company said, okay, we are 100% and completely happy with the degree of digitalization. And more than 40% of the companies actually reported they are not using any digital tool besides spreadsheet or Excel. I mean, so a spreadsheet, that's how they were running their companies. And one learning was also the longer the companies were operating, I mean, even though small and young, but the longer they were in the business, the more they noticed, okay, we need to grow our degree of digitalization. And then on the next slide, we can also see which are the areas that most companies wanted to digitalize. Obviously, the most interesting answer is always funding and reporting, including carbon credits here. So this is everybody's always looking for money. So this is where everybody would like to digitalize and hopes that this can help the process, but makes sense. But also the business intelligence, optimization, customer care, project logistics and procurement, payment collections, and training of staff, where like the most reported areas where digitalization is wished by these companies, followed by other possibly more generic things like operations, accounting, human resources, which like all companies a bit independent from the energy access space are facing. Now we also try to understand the hindrances in digitalization, which you can see on the next slide exactly. By the companies have been reported. One is actually lack of awareness of available tools. There are a lot of digital tools out there. And as I said, EnAccess stays for open source. So, but we know there are open source and free tools, but also non-open source commercial tools. And they are there and they are accessible to the companies, but a lot of companies are not aware of the like broad variety of tools which are actually available to face and to answer these challenges they have. Some reported they know quite a bit of the tools available, but they're really unsure which ones to use. And okay, and while others also reported limited adoption, so they want to digitize, but their stuff is actually not up to speed with the digitalization. And then others were like the connectivity in rural areas, and the other was cost to the in-house development or software fees. And to answer these hindrances, we would like to, on the next slide, propose a solution which we call the Digital and Support Hub, which is an intuitive, user-friendly digital and tool map based on resources developed by the Global Distributor Collective, but also by work done by NDEF, Energize Tomorrow project, and to make the tools more easily understandable and guide the companies which tools are the right ones for them, plus a pilot hand-holding on tailored support for getting actually onboarded to digital tools. And if I may have another 30 seconds for just pointing one very important thing out, which we also want to talk about always on the next slide, are the limitations and risks of digitalization, because we say all the great things about digitalization, but we need to be aware we can't solve everything with it. And digital tools inherently have the problem they don't reflect data that is not measurable, at least not measurable today, or very often it's not measurable. And this is like social dynamics, cultural values, traditional values. All these things are often not properly catched by data-driven approaches. And this is a risk that we at least need to be aware of and not always believe, okay, the data says that, so we have to do that. There is data and there's information and knowledge that is not being reflected in the modern digital tools. And this is something that needs to be taken into account when talking about digitalization and leveraging digital tools, because otherwise we go a great risk to do things wrong again and again. And with that, I'm happy to wrap up. That was our presentation on digitalization and the Digitalization Support Hub, which we are promoting and running with the help of the Good Energies Foundation and with in-kind support from Get Invest, which I forget to mention earlier. Thank you, and sorry for taking a bit more of time. And I hope this is a good starter for the rest of the day.
Thank you very much, Vivien, for this insightful presentation. A great way of starting today's webinar. Really interesting to know how the SMEs can overcome all these challenges you mentioned. So now we'll move to the next speaker. Before, I would like to encourage the audience again to start asking your questions. All the questions you have from Vivien's presentation, please use the Q&A function of GoToWebinar. And now, David, are going with David of Initotayo, CEO and founder. So David, floor is yours, 8 minutes.
Thank you very much, Carlos, and yeah, thank you very much for the opportunity to talk today. And it's great to see so many people from all over the world joining the call. And thank you to Vivien for your great presentation there, and a perfect segue into what I want to talk about today, which is how an effective MRV tool can empower impact from end user to funder by enhancing solar value chains. Next slide, please. So typically when people refer to MRV, it's commonly used to reference what funders and financiers use to measure the impact of the energy projects that they support. However, an effective MRV tool shouldn't be just that. It should extend its benefits to all stakeholders in the solar value chain. So empowering the solar business to be more successful, or the solar company to be more successful through improved O&M, improved customer support, given the information that the funder needs on the projects that they're backing, but also the end user shouldn't be discounted from this. And a good monitoring tool should be able to provide information to the end user to empower them to better manage their own energy systems. Next slide, please. So for a solar company, effective monitoring reporting tool allows them to become more successful by better optimizing the energy systems that they're deploying, lowering operational costs through more effective O&M, and importantly, giving them the data and the information to prove their effectiveness, unlocking future finance. Next slide, please. So for solar business, an effective monitoring tool is used to improve system performance, reduce operational costs, and increase reliability. So the comprehensive reporting proactive management tool enhances the operation and efficiency, increasing system performance, and ensuring a reliable energy supply for operators and customers. So this could be more effective staffing, enabling you to deploy your staff to areas of the business that need it most, overall improving the reliability of the energy systems that you're deploying, better optimizing the solar systems, and for many people this is applicable, just ultimately reducing the reliance on fossil fueled diesel generators or petrol generators around the world. Next slide, please. And funders want to see operational excellence and clear impact of the projects they fund. Ultimately, they want to de-risk it. They want to make sure that the money is going to organizations that are effective at deploying that funding to have an impact. So the solar businesses can use the reporting to demonstrate a clear track record and consistency of dependable energy delivery, taking the data that they've got on the projects that they've implemented to show data-driven success stories, obviously resonate with investors looking for well-managed projects. And as I mentioned, it's ultimately de-risking it for the investor. So they want to be able to see effectiveness. And if you can monitor it, you can manage it, and the more effective you are at managing it, then the more success you'll be and the less risk there is in providing you with funding. Next slide, please. And the all-important impact metrics, and these should be transparent, reliable, and trusted. So whether this is showing the amount of impact on CO2 emissions through what's avoided with PV or what's actually been emitted, or this could be the total energy generated from an energy system and where that energy is coming from. So not just the energy output, but is that energy actually coming from the PV or is it coming from a backup generator? So is the system actually working? And impact metrics such as lives impacted. So how many projects have been deployed and how many lives have been impacted, whether that be from increasing access to energy or just reducing reliance on generators in regions with inadequate grid supply. So aligning with investors and regulatory requirements, ensuring that your reporting is verifiable, makes it easy to communicate project performance and impact effectively. Next slide, please. And the all-important end user that sometimes maybe gets overlooked. So, you know, all this funding is going to support people to have more sustainable and cost-effective energy systems, and giving them the information that they need empowers them to take positive action to reduce costs and increase sustainability. And that could simply be allowing them to see the status charge of their battery bank that they have at their home or in their business, and making simple decisions. You know, if there's no solar at night and the grid's off, then allowing them to understand what the status charge of the battery is allows them to prioritize what loads they have on. You know, is it air conditioning, is it a cooker, is it the television, and better managing those energy assets to, you know, reducing costs and ultimately increasing reliability. Next slide, please. And we've designed a system that is basically we can monitor any energy system anywhere, which is important in the markets where we operate, and bringing end-to-end benefits to the whole solar value chain. So our system is very simple and very effective. So it's very, you know, you require minimum training to install it. So what we say is if a technician is capable of installing an inverter or a battery, then they have more skills than necessary to install our system. So a typical system, you know, 15, 30 minutes, the system's installed and data's online and you can start seeing how a system's operating. We are totally technology agnostic because we use our own monitors. So we're able to monitor any age, make, model, type of energy asset, which allows a solar business to be free of, you know, free choice in what they choose to deploy, knowing that they can still monitor it and get that all important data that they need to better manage those energy systems and access that funding. And a lot of these sites are in remote locations or even in, you know, city locations with poor mobile signal. So we have 4G and Wi-Fi backup, and also the data gateway, which looks like this, has inbuilt storage. So should a mobile signal drop off, we carry on monitoring, carry on collecting that data and upload it once we get that mobile signal back online. Next slide, please. And then the reporting. So it's important that we have the right level of reporting to the user. So if you're a homeowner or a business owner, we're able to give you a mobile phone application where you can view your own energy system and see how that energy system is reporting. If you're the solar business, solar operator, then we provide you with the dashboarding services where you can see all the high level analytics, whether it be for the whole organization, an individual site, or an individual energy asset. So the right level of reporting at the right time. Analytics and reporting, so optimized systems and operations and right sizing of assets, alerts and notifications, allowing you to take proactive action to correct issues before they cause system failure, so increasing the reliability and reducing downtime. And again, those all important impact metrics, and whether that be for the impact of the whole organization, whether it be the impact of an individual site, or even just down to an individual energy asset. And the final slide. So that's me, that's David Smith, CEO and founder. It's been a pleasure talking today. So thank you very much again, I4E, for this opportunity to talk today. And I look forward to hearing from some of the people on the webinar today in the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, David. Impeccable timing. Thank you very much for that as well. A really interesting presentation. I'm pretty sure that all the audience will be asking their questions. We can address them at the end of the session. So thank you, David, for it. And now we'll move to the next one, which is the presentation of Mr. Mmilidzi Habangaan, who is the Managing Director of NetComm. Mmilidzi, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Greetings and salutations to you all. Thank you for this wonderful opportunity to come in and present on what we do. I'd like to thank I4E and also the EU through Get Invest for giving us opportunities to do what we're doing today and presenting what we shall. It's a bit difficult to come in after the presenters that went before me, Vivien and David, but I'll try my best. I think I should have gone first, so I could have set the stage, but anyway, thank you. My name is Mmilidzi. I represent an organization called NetComm. Just as a brief overview, NetComm was established in January of 1999 and is one of Eswatini's leading ICT solutions provider. It was founded by Jose Maria da Costa and Leon Sabedze, and the founding directors are still involved in the business to date. We employ a total of 48 people and have grown since our inception of just only 4 people. For those who don't know, Eswatini is a kingdom, a sovereign kingdom in the southern part of Africa, and with a population of 1.1 million. So keep that in mind when we talk about economies of scale. You might be wondering what's an IT company doing here in renewable energy. So yes, I am originally from Botswana, but I moved here 11 years ago, and I've been here ever since. So NetComm, these are our service offerings. Our current service offerings are ICT technical services, hardware and software sales, managed technical services, managed data center services, data protection and security services, managed print services as well, structured cabling, fiber optic, wireless solutions, IP CCTV, access control solutions, IP telephony and PABX solutions, display projection and signage solutions, and our most recent entry to our service portfolio was home and small to medium business solar solutions. Next slide, please. Thank you. Being in Africa, we've noticed that the biggest challenges are mainly organizational capacity. Being a mechanical engineer by profession and also having worked in the IT space, we have worked our service portfolio to actually conform with what is known as the ITIL service lifecycle management model, because we have grown to understand that the customer's perception of value is key to their business growth and our business growth. It so happens that renewable energy systems are our latest offering in our portfolio, and we elected to run our services adopting this ITIL service lifecycle management. Basically, that means we actually go through a process when we are designing how we're going to offer our services, and also it's supported by technology. So we basically start with our service strategy. What are the people, processes, products, partnerships needed to align to make our business objectives seamless? We then transition that to our design. We actually sit down and craft in detail how to deliver these services and how to satisfy our customer requirements. And then we now go into the implementation. We transition, we introduce these new modified design solutions into production. And the aim is to maximize productivity and performance while minimizing downtime and disruption. And then we also have the service operation. It's the area of our life cycle that is most visible to our clients, as this is where the active operation, including planned preventative maintenance, is handled. And then we continually investigate and try and optimize. We identify opportunities where things can evolve, our services can evolve and enhance or increase value to our customers, and we then start afresh from the beginning as we readopt these things. So we want to continually improve our services. Next slide, please. Naturally, we are primarily a digital company, we're an IT company, so we have taken, we leverage our technical expertise in the IT space to then enhance our services that we do, especially in all our service portfolio, including renewable energy. We use email for general communication. We use a suite called Microsoft 365, which is very good for collaboration. Anyone who's used email or any Outlook might understand that Outlook has 4 components. It's basically your email, your calendars, your tasks and your contacts. So we try to utilize all aspects of the Microsoft 365 suite of offerings. We also use Microsoft Teams for our internal communications and video conferencing. So everything is in a centralized platform. So we're not distracted by other software. Let's say it's on our phones or on our PCs. When you see a message coming in from Teams, you know it's work and you can focus. We also have a project management and incident management tool, our help desk, where we actually log, update, and track the life cycle of any project or any incident, so it's managed with different levels of management involving the engineers, the technicians, incident management response teams, and us as management. It so happens that internet in Africa, we have to be very creative with how we deploy things. We don't have many purpose-built hardware that combines everything together, so we have to take a bit of everything and put it together. Since we're doing home solutions and small to medium business solutions, we actually use internet. We install internet at customer sites and control how the information or data is communicated to us. We use alerts to trigger a response and also to be able to remotely monitor things. Software, we use a lot of software, obviously design software, monitoring software, and performance tools. Some of them are as apps, as David showed, that can be installed on a customer's phone and even our technicians' phones, so that we can monitor these things remotely. We actually do asset tracking, so we monitor all the hardware. There's a lot of panels, batteries, and everything that we use to give our solutions to our customers, and we have to manage that, including for warranty. Nothing is manufactured in Eswatini, so we have to track the goods in and out of the country. And then we also do customer feedback through Microsoft Forms. After a job is done, we want to hear back from the customer. So this enhances all the service life cycle and gives value to the customer. Next slide, please. These are just a few of our tools. I just took some screenshots to show you. All our service vehicles are tracked, so we know where they are in the country. We've got a national reach. We operate nationally. Next. Okay, that's our forms. It's just a simple form that we use to design to get the customer to rate our service. Next. That's our incident management tool, our help desk, where we can actually track what's going on with each job at any given time, and it does automatic updates to the customer as well. Next. This is our internet service management tool, so we can track our internet on all our customer sites and actually then ensure that there's connectivity between us and our customers. Next. This is our planning tool for when we're planning to install PVs. We want to make sure that our positioning is right. This is a free tool online that you can also use as well. Next. This is our asset tracking system, where we actually can track goods coming in, goods sold to customers, when it was sold, how much it was sold for, and we can also track our sales and compare it against previous years. Next. This is our, obviously, team, so we interact with our customers and collaborate to ensure that we bring solutions to our customers and make sure that even though we are dispersed physically, we can still be collaborative. Next. Finally, this is our email. So we receive emails and monitor communications between us, suppliers, and customers. Next. All right, bringing together, everybody has to play their part so we can deliver services to our customers. Next slide. Next slide, please. Oh. Okay, I'm looking for slide 6, but anyway, I was wrapping up. I was closing with an African proverb which says, if you think you're too small to make a difference, try spending the night with a mosquito. For those who may be thinking that they cannot make a difference in our energy transition, I encourage you to just start. Each person can play a part, especially when we work together. Someone once asked me, what do you call a mosquito in your language? This was in Africa. And the person answered, we don't call them, they just come and bite. Just a joke to keep things light. Next slide. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. NetComm is available to also help other customers transition to the digital era as a technology company, whilst also giving them energy solutions. Thank you very much, and I appreciate this opportunity today.
Thank you, Mmilidzi, for your great presentation. It was great to know more about how NetComm works. So thank you very much. Encouraging again all the audience, please, dear audience, make use of the question and answer feature of the platform. All your questions will be addressed at the end. So now I have the pleasure to invite to talk Ms. Gwladys Alahassa, who is the Managing Director of Qotto, the Benin branch of Qotto. So please, Gwladys, can you turn on your camera so we can start your presentation? Hi, Gwladys. Your 8 minutes.
Hi, Carlos. Thanks for the opportunity. Hi, everybody. I'm happy to be with you this afternoon to share with you our impacts for the community, for the Beninese population. As you know, as a little reminder, Qotto Benin was created by Jean-Baptiste Lenoir and Fabrice Kodoma since 2017. And we are operating in Burkina Faso since 2018 and in Ivory Coast since 2023. As you know, in sub-Saharan area, the lack of energy make our community to be in movement to increase their income and have a better life. And for us, next slide, please. We are an operator who make essential services accessible to underserved population, thus contributing to the achievement of autonomy. And our aim is to be the smart operator in sub-Saharan Africa. Next slide, please. During our operation and due to testimony from our customer, we identify some issues they are facing, some challenges they are facing, to go through the contract with Qotto and be owner of the solar home system. And with our partnership with Sunu Assurance and Sanlam, I thank them a lot for their cooperation and for their contribution to build the Qotto V insurance. We in case of death and permanent disability for the customer, we keep the system for the family. The coverage of the insurance allow them to take care of the remaining payment of the client, and then they continue to have access to the quality energy from the Qotto solar home system. Next slide, please. By side of the Qotto V insurance, we also identify the challenge for them to have easy access for the mobile money. So with the partner Move Africa in Benin, we also build the kiosk multi-service, which is a solution which are developed with the solar home system and the facility for the customer to sell SIMs, to sell mobile money or another GSM services. And this allows them to increase the income and also to get some commission for sales of our solar home system. So to make all those solutions, kiosk multi-service and Qotto V insurance, next slide please. we identified that our CRM must be more easy for our collaborator and more easy to follow the life of the contract of the customer. So with our own developers, we build the Qotto. Qotto is a system d'information Qotto, who allow us to be in time for the client's needs, to get to allow them to have access for the contract information, how they pay, how we remind them for payment. For the collaborator, it allows them to easily have access for the information, which client I have to visit, what is the need of the client, what did I need to do to make the client more satisfied. And that make for us the activity more easily and increase also our customer satisfaction in time. So for us, with those solutions, next like this, with those solutions, Qotto V, insurance, chaos multi-service, and Qotto, we are dedicated to a sustainable financial inclusion for our customer, and we improve energy access, we protect against unforeseen events, and provide income opportunity that enhance for customer economical autonomy. So that's what I have to share with you today. Our model is more impacted for the client, for the customer at the last kilometers. So thank you, everybody. Thank you, Ari, for the opportunity, and I'm open for the question or recommendation.
Thank you very much, Gwladys, for your presentation. Really nice to go through all the features that Qotto has to offer and to understand more or how do you use digitalization optimization tools. So now we will be moving to Mr. Adriano de Melo, who is customer services expert of Upya Technologies, who will talk about how zoning is reshaping data collection. Adriano, you have 8 minutes that are starting now. So thank you very much for your presence today.
All right, thank you so much, Carlos. Thank you, Deepak and ARE. It's a pleasure to be here with all of you. So as said, I'm Adriano de Melo. I'm Upya's Customer Success Manager, and I'm here to talk a little bit about how zoning is reshaping data collection and field management. So let's just jump into our first slide, please. And for those who don't know Upya, we've been in the market for 5 years now. We have clients in over 20 countries in 3 continents. We are ERP, CRM platform designed to adapt to every need of our clients that they need to grow. So our platform manages and distributes sales, PayGo, SHS sales, PayGo, smartphones, electric pressure cookers, solar pumps, fridges. So we manage and sell and distribute all of those types of products. So whether you're managing payments or tracking inventory or enhancing customer interactions, Upya is your solution to digitize. So for small clients, this means getting rid of pen and paper. And for larger companies, this means automating workflows and improving customer satisfaction. So Upya's supports business across different environments and different operational scales, enabling all of our clients to grow. So let's take a look at some of Upya's features on the next slide, please. Our features includes a range of tools to help business grow. So basically, as a CRM, we have all of the necessary modules that you would expect, such as we can see customer management, payments collection and deal types, agents management and commissions, ticketing system and workflow automations, which we'll talk a little bit more in a few. And to mention a couple of new features, as you can see on the screen, we have data collection, and one of our new features is the Bluetooth reader and the NFC reader, which means that cook stoves usage data, for example, can now easily be read, and this data can be integrated into our contracts module. We also have a request to pay on the mobile app and the web app, which prompts the end customer to make a payment, avoiding human error and late payments. We also have a territory and partner management, which we call the entity module. and it is designed to divide or separate your business by countries, projects, shops, and etc. So we're always innovating in these in new types of things. So let's take a look at one of our latest features on the next slide, please. We have recently developed a new feature called the Polygon, and it was designed to fulfill the needs of agents on the ground who faces challenges around land demarcation or area calculation, and for supervisors in the office who struggle with teams and area management. So the Polygon can collect geo coordinates on the mobile app, can create multiple geometry drawings. We have satellite map viewing on the mobile app. You have current location of the field step at all times. You can do area calculation. We have geofencing, which we'll talk a little bit more. We can capture geotagging of photographs and videos, which means that you can see the location, the time, and the date of the video or photo that you've just captured. And you can export all of this information, all of this data in a vector format. So these are just a few examples, and we will see some more of them on the use cases in another slide. And the characteristics that are going to be the most impacted by the Polygon are the data collection and the field management. So in the next slide, we'll see a little bit more about data collection. Upya has always had the ability to map places and to collect coordinates. We can take as many pictures as you want. You can record videos of the lands. You can collect GPS coordinates, totally offline, of course. And even with our large capabilities of data collection, we were still able to improve it. So now with the Polygon, we bring our data collection to the next level. Now you are able to map all of these areas, no matter how big, no matter how small. You can do this on the ground using your mobile application, even if you're totally offline, or you can do it in the office by drawing an area on the map. And it's as simple as clicking on the map and dropping some pinpoints. So this creates a piece of land by recording these GPS coordinates that was just recorded. Now let's take a look on how field management is impacted also in the next slide. So task and tickets is our solution for managing people in the ground, and it allows supervisors to send tasks to their field agents to complete assignments or collect necessary data using our mobile application. We also have automations that can be paired with these task and tickets module to allow specific actions to be performed by teams or individuals on the ground, and to be automatically connected and triggered based on a specific event. So the combination of task and tickets with automations, it's very powerful. And now with the Polygon, we were able to bring this also to the next level, because now agents can receive tasks on the ground to record plots of lands by drawing a polygon on the app, to see the total area of the plots that has been captured, and to manage different plots of land from different clients. And all this data is uploaded to the web platform, where web supervisors can validate this data and can correct it if need be. Also, I mentioned a while ago geofencing, and this is what enables the creation of specific zones for agents and to verify that their activities are within their designated areas. So Upya also has a pretty sophisticated commission module, and the geofencing feature can be linked to it to ensure that commissions, for example, are only paid when data or sales happens within that designated zone. So this helps companies to have a tighter control of their sales force, especially when we know that agents often work for multiple employers at the same time. So now let's take a look at some use cases for the Polygon feature on the next slide, please. The use case for agriculture is an obvious one, as many agribusiness want to manage crops and lands. Demarcation of plots of land is very important, as there is a need to accurately separate the lands among farmers. Another case we might use is the ability to precisely source where your crop comes from. So an example of that is coffee, for example. Typically, you might want to be able to provide your end user with this type of information. Where does your coffee come from? The Polygon can also be used to assess the area of land in order to accurately measure it and to set up irrigational systems for that land. So it's a very powerful tool. And we also have carbon credits And forestry is a typical carbon credits use case for the polygon, as it can be also used to monitor tree plots and assess the conservation of those trees. In this case, the growth and development of the trees would need to be documented through time, and most likely by different teams, as monitoring might take place over years and decades. With that being said, it's clear the power of the polygon and how Upya has been innovating to help scale and digitize your business. So on our last slide, I just want to thank everybody for your attention. You have all of our details on this slide. If you have any questions, please do get in touch with us. We are a friendly bunch. We're always happy to jump on a quick call to discuss your business needs. So thank you again, REA, Deepak, and all of my fellow colleagues. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Adriano, for walking us through all that, everything that the Polygon has to offer. Really interesting presentation. Inviting again all the audience to ask their questions using the chat feature. Now we're moving to the last presentation of the day. Thank you everyone for keeping your attention to this point. Now we'll have the pleasure to have with us Clément Joulain, who is a sales manager of Victron Energy, who will do the last presentation before the Q&A. So Clément, thank you very much for being with us today, and the floor is yours for the next 8 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you, Carlos. Yeah, nice to be here with you all and to talk today. So yeah, I will present a bit Victron Energy for some of you that doesn't know the company. So Victron Energy is a 50 years old company specialized in standalone energy system and standalone solar system. So we are really focused on R&D, and it's a family business. You see on the picture the father who created the company and his son that now is the general manager. And yeah, we are known for the technical support, the R&D, and yeah, all the solution we have provided around our product. Next slide, please. So our ecosystem of product is modular. So you can build any system, any custom system you want to solve your power challenge and your application. So it's flexible. You can use one unit, you can use several of them, you can replace, you can configure them. It's continuously supported with new features and new software. You can extend, of course, the system. So you can add storage, you can add capacity, solar capacity, you can add conversion capacity. And of course, it's professionally built, so it's backed with a 5-year warranty. So yeah, this modular ecosystem allows you to do practically any type of system you want, either DC or AC. Next slide, please. We are also one of the industry leader in terms of monitoring and remote management. So our VRM and Victron Connect are the two software that is really famous now on the industry. And yeah, you can do a lot in terms of monitoring of your system, in terms of digitalization of the system. You can easily check what's happening on your system. You can check the performance. If anything goes wrong, you can change the setting, you can correct an alarm, you can be informed, and you can control your system remotely. So it's saving a lot of time, because traveling to a site it's complicated, it's expensive, especially in Africa or South America or some remote places where you need to drive for hours to get there. Sometimes you cannot even reach because it's the rainy season and the road is not practicable. So yeah, we've done a lot of effort in that aspect since more than a decade now to digitalize, our system and to be able to control them. Next slide, please. So this all this monitoring and all this remote control of our solution is based on an operating system that we call Venus OS. So it's an open source software, and it's running on our GX device. So when you have a GX device on a Victron system, you are able to, and you have a connection, an internet connection, you are able to monitor it, you are able to control it. But you can also do more than that. So you have also Node-RED that is built in, and you can do advanced automation, you can do a customized process, you can do a lot of things. I will explain further in the next slide. That is also enhancing the features of your system. Yeah, so, and what we've done so far since 50 years now, half a century, it's building a long-term relationship with our customers. So we are focusing on the durability, on the technical support and remote support, and now also giving a lot of effort on advanced customization. So all of them, those three ingredients that is giving what we want is the lower cost of ownership. So probably we are not the cheapest solution upfront when you buy upfront, but if you look on the long-term assessment, yeah, we have the lower cost of ownership, and that is what we focus on. Next slide, please. So to show a bit more what we can do with the software environment, so it's not only about Victron and it's not only about Venus OS, but it's also integrating a third-party software, third-party platform to have a totally integrated system that is added more value. So Node-RED is a quite famous one, but you have Grafana, you have MQTT, you have many other third-party platform you can integrate with Victron, and then you can create the automation or the customization you want. So we have yeah, one tag is like, if you can think it, you can build it. So it means if you have an idea, if you want to apply a concept in your system, you can build it with those tools. Next slide, please. So just to give a few examples, a case study. So it's La Réunion Island in the Indian Ocean. So we have one company there. They installed more than 600 systems on this small island. So it's quite a big fleet of system. And you know, when you have a typhoon coming, then you need to make sure your battery is full before the typhoon and the storm will hit the island. And because the grid can fail for days, and yeah, you want to have your battery full. So it was really a hassle for this customer of us to manually change the setting of 600 systems one by one, to change the setting from self-consumption to keep the battery full. So they wanted to have something automatized, and so they hired a developer, a third-party company that was able to develop a small page. So it's just a simple tool, is a page that can see the 600 system, and within a click they can just change the setting from optimize to keep battery full. And then when the typhoon is away, you can go back to optimize, and then you can use your solar energy to reduce your bill. So it was really for them really interesting to be able to customize such tool because it's helping them on their daily business. So this is a case study. Next one, please. Another case study is more on the residential application. So Sean is a Victron installer based in Zimbabwe. He loves technology, he loves Victron, he's a Victron installer. So he built a system using Node-RED and using a Wi-Fi enabled switch, yes. And so he can control device in his home, he can control the water heater, he can control the pump. He made also some custom dashboard. Next one, please. And so in this slide, you can see the red flow, the flow he built on Node-RED. So Node-RED, just to make it quick, it's you can do programmation, but with a simple node. So it's really easy to understand, really quick. You don't need to have a advanced programmation skill, and then you can base your flow based on any information. You can take control of any part of your system. Can be the output, can be the input, can be the battery, can be the solar, and you can define threshold, and you can have a really advanced control on your appliance and better use of your energy. Yeah, next one. So I will just wrap up. Sorry, I'm a bit delayed, but yeah. So if you want to implement an idea or a project, there is two ways. You can do it yourself. So if you want to train, I put some links about Venus OS Large, about webinar on Node-RED, about the community, so you can learn by yourself. But you can also hire a developer. So we are building a network of certified developers. There are about 10 already. And if you want more details about that, you can contact me. We can put you in touch, and they can help you. Usually not for high price. They can help you customize an idea. So yeah, that's it. I'm done. Thanks for your attention, and I hope there will be some question later.
Thank you very much, Clément. A great way of finishing the presentations today. It's always impressive to see what Victron is working on at the Venus OS software. Now we will move to the Q&A session. So please, can I invite all the speakers to turn on your cameras so we can start this audience Q&A. Thank you very much. And dear audience, please, this is the last chance for you to ask your questions. So please make sure you use the question and answer feature. So yeah, we encourage you to do it. I will try to follow the same order one by one with some of the questions that were asked by our audience. So I'll start with you, Vivien. The question is the next one. It says, there are a lot of digital tools available, but most of them are very expensive, even for organizations. So how does this one address that problem? Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, as I can confirm that was also one of the outputs of the survey we had. No, what I said. So the costs is a topic, like this the software as a service fees, or like the consultancy fees by the companies, or the effort to do it in-house. I mean, the digital support hub, which I mentioned shortly in the end, where a little time, can't really address the cost of the softwares themselves or of the digital tools themselves. What we do is making them accessible, understandable, informing about the right decisions to take to possibly use free versions, which possibly don't have the full set of tools that the commercial and or like paid services have, but they are also open source or at least free tools that have a limited extent of things. But particularly for smaller companies, these can be enough until you have the scale and you have the amount of revenue that allows you to go the high-end products, which with the higher service fees. And more generally, EnAccess is exactly targeting like these smaller companies with smaller budgets to say, okay, let's do more stuff open source. Particularly, there's no need to have 10 companies developing and investing in doing the same thing again and again. So there's a potential of economizing on leveraging open source, as like a few of the speakers has also said, for tasks that are to be done by everybody anyways. So these could or should be commonly maintained in reducing cost, like for the whole sector and for all companies in the sector, and then sparing more money to actually get more people connected, which is like the overall goal of our sector. But yeah, that's so we target that through this open source approach of saying, really identifying which is where it really makes sense to invest money and where it makes more sense that everybody contributes a little bit to have a common infrastructure.
Thank you, Vivien, for answering the question. This first question of the session. We couldn't see you, but I think the question is clarified now. So thank you for that. And we will move on now to David. I have two questions for you. The first one is if your software is open source, and the second one is what kind of data can this monitoring hardware capture, and if that it would be helpful to understand carbon emissions that are avoided. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So our software in itself isn't open source. It's a paid-for subscription. So once you buy the hardware, there's a subscription which varies depending on the size of the energy system where we're monitoring. We do offer an API if people want to take that data and incorporate it into their own systems. So hopefully that answers that question. Thank you very much. And the carbon question, could you repeat the carbon question, please, Carlos?
Yeah, of course, David. The question is, what kind of data can this monitoring hardware capture? Because it will be useful to understand the carbon emissions that are avoided.
Okay, so we monitor the whole energy system. So irrespective of the energy assets, so whether it's grid supply, diesel generator, batteries, PV, and then we have our own algorithm that calculates the CO2 emitted from those energy assets. And we use that to come up with an average figure of what the CO2 emissions are from that energy system. And then with PV, if you're using PV on the site or other renewable sources, then we take the total energy that's been created from the renewable sources and then convert that back into the CO2 that's been prevented by using that compared to the generator or the grid supply on the site.
Thank you very much, David, for your kind answer to both questions.
Thank you.
Now we will move to Mmilidzi. The question for you is the next one. What are your suggestions for free open source tools that SME can use as an alternative to Microsoft Teams, for example, for managing tasks and internal communications? Assuming that the SME don't have the budget for internal tools. Thanks.
Thank you very much for that question. People are moving more towards WhatsApp as a means of collaboration. WhatsApp started as an IM platform, and they incorporated their VoIP and video over IP as well. So I've noticed that for free open source, they're moving in that direction. They've also incorporated some service offerings on the WhatsApp business platform where you can actually advertise your catalog and share your contacts easily, because it's open source. Well, not open source. It's free to download and free to use. The only issue with that, it does mix between business and leisure or social networking. And when you are doing, let me give an example. I'm in IT, but when I get home, I close my laptop and I don't see it until the next day. So if you start using something non-socially, it kills the platform. So we normally recommend that segregate your home life from your work life. And there are affordable offerings for teams, especially for SMB. I operate, my biggest customer footprint is the SMB market, and we actually see the benefit of the Microsoft suite of offerings, and it has become affordable for small to medium businesses. There are different tiers and levels. Previously, it was only enterprise, but now they've created a category for business, which is just below enterprise, and it's affordable. For startups, yes, you can start with other solutions, but as you do grow and you need to manage things better, I will advise to go to the Microsoft platform for that. Thank you for that question.
Thank you, Mmilidzi. It was really useful. And I have a really short question to you as well. It's simply, what's the name of the solar planning tool that you showed in your presentation? Thank you.
Sorry, was that for me as well?
Yeah, sorry, it was for you.
It's Power Advisor. I can share a link. If you contact me on LinkedIn, I can actually share that link so you can actually see it as well.
Great, thank you very much. Now, Gwladys, your turn. The question says, it's related to financial inclusion and service accessibility. That says that with 80% of West Africa population excluded from the traditional banking system, how does Qotto overcome digital and logistical challenges to ensure that urban and remote rural customers can reliably access and utilize your financial services? Thank you.
Thank you, Carlos. If I understand the question, how we are making more easily the access for the products, energy product for the client. That's right. Okay, for us, these access are more easy by our tools, the SICO system. The SICO is accessible for each collaborator by default, up the position on the area, on the country area. So when they are in front of the customer, they can upload all the information from the customer by the SICO system on default. So with this information around which home the client have, what is his mobility, what mobility he's using. Is it a bicycle? Is it a motorbike? Is it a car? How many persons he has in charge? What is his income? Or what is the frequency of his income? And due to this information, we analyze the capacity of the customer to be owner of the product up to 1 year or 3 years. It depends on the product he wants to get from Qotto. So it's due to our theorem, the SICO. We collect those information from the clients and we analyze them. And with our team, which are already live by side of the customer, we have 11 logistic points around the territory, around the country. And at this point, we already have the material, the panel, television, controllers, lamps, and depend on the information we have on SICO, our commercials, the sellers team or the technician team can get at time the information that this guy needs some lamp, this guy needs some new installation, this guy needs needed of after sales services, and they are call the client and go to visit him and making certify of his name. So it's by the system, digital system, SICO, and our process we are making more optimizing to make the experience of the client more efficient. I don't know if I respond to the question. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Gwladys, for answering this question. Now I will move to the questions of Adriano, but before I'd like to remind our audience to ask their questions now, as we are coming to the end of the Q&A session. And now, Adriano, 2 questions for you. The first one says, how long does it take to get set up with Upya? And the second one is, how do you deal with incorrect GPS points? Thank you.
All right, thank you. So it's fairly quick to set up your Upya platform, but of course it all depends on how you start. So you can start with the fundamental modules to immediately start running your business. And depending on your internal capabilities, this can be very, very quickly. We also share our logins of Upya Academy, which is our educational tool, which helps you configure your platform with all of your information by yourself. So this is pretty cool. For some larger customers, we use Upya to run all of their processes, like linking headquarters to the field and etc. So in this case, setup configuration can take a bit more time, as we need to replicate all of their specific workflows and look at potential integrations and etc. So with this scenario, we first do an assessment call, and then we come back with the plan to map our next steps. But it's very simple to set up, and it's fairly quickly to set up. And responding to the second question was about GPS coordinates, correct, Carlos? So yes, so we use the Google's service GPS collection tool, and on top of that, our technical team was able to develop a feature to improve the accuracy of the area that you are collecting. So it can be as close as 1 meter away from the actual GPS point that you are. So it's very unlikely that you will have a incorrect GPS coordinates after you record it. So it's very accurate. So if you have any other questions about this, any other questions about how to set up, you can contact me on LinkedIn directly, or Upya Technologies. Will be happy to just jump in a quick call and we can talk a little bit more about this. Thank you, Carlos.
Thank you, Adriano. Thank you very much for answering the question. Now it comes to you, Clément. The question says, is if the venue's OS can be used for Victron devices only or on other services as well? We cannot hear you, Clément. I think you're muted.
Hello. Yeah, I was disconnected. Can you repeat the question, please?
Yeah, sure. The question is if the venue's OS software can be used for Victron devices only, or also for other type of service devices.
So if I understand correctly, like is it possible to use the weather forecast?
No.
Yeah, I have a trouble with my connection now. It's
sorry if I may, Clément, the question is, is the Venus OS that you shared during your presentation, can it be only used for Victron devices or other devices too?
No, it's only intended for Victron devices, so it's mainly working with Victron environment. But you can integrate a third-party product, like you can integrate a weather sensor, like a temperature sensor, irradiance, pressure sensor. You can integrate a PV grid type PV inverter. You can integrate a lithium battery. You can integrate like a fuel tank or water tank sensor. So it's quite a bunch of products you can integrate. So it's open. It's open. But if you want to integrate a third-party battery inverter or third-party MPPT charger, it's not possible. It's only working with our product. But then it's quite open. And then you have also, what I try to explain is like you can integrate using MQTT or using other protocol, RS485, Ethernet integration. So it opens a door for many applications. Yeah, I hope it answered the question.
Yeah, thank you, Clément. There's other question for you as well. It says that as Victron emphasizes the importance of durability in reducing total costs of ownership in extreme conditions, like for example, tropical islands or harsh desert areas. How does this durability manifest? And if there are unique hardware features that can contribute to resilience?
It's an important question, because nowadays we see that the solar industry is going cheap. So we see like it's a trend, and we see many companies focusing on low cost and to be the cheapest on the market. but then you see that the product will not last. After 1 or 2 years, it gets rusty, or if you overload it a bit, then it will fail. You have a lot of issue. So this is not something we're going to do. We are coming initially from the marine industry. The product we are using boats. So obviously in boat you have harsh environment, you have water, you have salt, you have heat. You also need to rely on your product. If you're crossing the Atlantic, you need a product that is strong and that will not fail. Or if you put it in an ambulance, you need something reliable. So we are really focusing on that. Our product, they are coming with a 5-year standard warranty. You can extend to 10 years for just 10% extra on the price. For example, the board, they are coated, they are a conformal coating on the board to protect from rust. So that kind of things, yeah, you pay extra when you buy the product, but then on the long run, after 10 years, 15 years, that's saving yeah, a lot. And also you save money on the service, because when you need to go on a site to fix the product, it's 200, 300 euro. So all your savings are gone in just one service on the product. So, yeah.
Great. Thank you, Clément. Thank you very much for answering this question. Now we'll come back to Vivien again. The question is, how receptive are international investors to companies that utilize these digitalization tools? And if there are any trends that indicate that improved digital infrastructure actually translates into more favorable funding. Thank you.
Yeah. So the question is focusing on the use of digital tools, not particularly open source digital tools, if I understand. I think factual proof, this would be something interesting to say, like digital tools directly relate to investment. I think where there is, and I mean, I don't have them, but I mean, from my experience in talking to people in the sector, to companies and talking to investors, they want to see data. They want to see evidence about the company. They want to see the customers they have, the revenue they're generating, the energy they're producing, the energy that has been consumed. And you're only, I mean, you can obviously collect that manually and write that down on a paper and give it to an investor. Investors, if they can see a data set that they can also look at, or you provide them a dashboard where they can log in and look and do their due diligence, they will be much more keen to give you money. Also to see like the performance of their money over the time, because that, I mean, this is this digital like remote monitoring and verification. No, this is so it's not directly the digital tool, it's actually the fact that you have access to data. So that's what interests the investor or the bank also to give you money. So I mean, I don't have now a report that I can show you, but I would like to have an investor here to confirm that. But I mean, this is the common sense that I understand if I talk in the sector to companies or to investors or to loan providers or even to public entities providing money, like for RBFs and so on. They need to verify and they want to see what's happening with their money and how this converts into connections actually.
Nice, thank you very much, Vivien. Now I'll come back to Adriano for another question that says that you mentioned tickets and tasks. If you can tell us more about those tickets and tasks of Upya. Thank you.
Okay, sure, Carlos. Yeah, okay, so we are a CRM, ERP company, so we a platform, of course. So we manage a lot of different products at the same time. We manage clients, we manage web users, we manage mobile app users. So there's a lot of moving pieces at the same time. So that leaves a big margin for error, for human error, and also to potentially waste time on manual tasks. So what we did, we have a ticketing system that offers a complete solution to manage any requests from the field or from the office to push work to be done as soon as possible, either if you're on the ground, as I said, with the tasks, or if you're in the office with the tickets. So it enables us to track when all of the actions were completed and to ensure if all of the data collection that had to be made on the ground was done. And as I said before, we also pair this with the automations module. And of course, we can have these tasks and these tickets triggered by an action, by another task, by another ticket, or by a time rule. For example, if you want a task to be sent, if a contract has been locked or the client has not paid for 5 days, you can trigger an automatic action to the specific role or the specific supervisor that will deal with this client. So yes, it's very powerful. And now with the Polygon, we can also, put all of this information together inside of an area in the map. So yes, getting together the tasking tickets with the automations is a very powerful tool, which helps most of our companies to improve their productivity. And as I said, avoiding human error and saving a lot of waste and time on manual tasks. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Adriano. Well, we are running out of time. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your attention. Thank you as well to all the speakers. Now I would like to invite my colleague back for doing the closing remarks of this webinar. So thank you, and back to our service. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Carlos, for wonderfully facilitating this edition of Innovation for Electrification webinar. Also, thank you to my team for helping us with the preparation. A big thanks go also to our dear speakers today for your kind intervention. I mean, we all know that how digital technologies have radically transformed the society over the past decades. So is our decentralized renewable energy sector. And the presentations that we saw today, dear ladies and gentlemen, from EnAccess, from Qotto, NetComm, Upya, Victron, and any.io, that ARE is leaving no stones unturned to put forward our companies in front of in the front line in order to provide their digital prowess and technologies and innovation so that they can help you with utmost sincerity and with the best solution possible. So please make sure that you follow the recording and the PowerPoint presentation, which will be provided on ARE website. And the questions that you have asked will also be shared with the speakers, so that if more follow-ups are needed and if they deem fit, the speakers will reach out to you. In addition, please stay tuned to all ARE-related communications, activities, events that are coming up. One thing that I can already announce is our EnAccess Investment Forum is coming up on 8th to 10th of April in Kampala, Uganda. So those of you who are dialing in from Uganda, we will be more than happy to see you there. And the participants who are open to engage with us during our forum, please do reach out to us and we will see the best way possible. Dear speakers, thanks again for your intervention. We will be in touch with you in upcoming edition. Speaking about that, the next edition is going to be in December. When we see the next slide, please. Yes, I guess that's going to be on the 10th of December, and the topic is going to be the DRE impact on SDG 7. So until then, I wish you all a very nice rest of the day, and yeah, keep well. See you in the next ARE event. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.